to Crazy Scoops Podcast with your hosts, Ayo and Antino. This week, I don't know why he's looking at me like that, but hey, we have our guest, Craig, on, the audio genius expert, here to make sure that your in-person audio, your outer person audio, your Zoom is sounding the best it can ever sound. Craig, why do you want everyone's voice to be the best that it can ever be?
Because anything less is a disgrace to yourself, and you're a lot better than that. So you might as well sound as good as you do in real life, you know?
Thank you.
I just want to bring out also, my name isn't Craig on, but I am on the podcast.
Okay. So Craig on is going to talk to us about various topics. Before we start, though, we usually have something called an icebreakers, which I hate, but I'll make an exception today. I want you to take out your, visual paintbrush, if we will, and just paint us a picture of what being a Canadian feels like.
Oh man, I figured this question was going to come up. So what being a Canadian feels like?
What's the normal day-to-day thing?
It's like being caressed by a mother bear who lost her cubs in the wilderness, but decided that humans are A-okay. And she comes up and she nurses you from the time that you're a small child. And she recommends a hearty life filled with adventure, hunting for salmon, and just general all-around cuddliness. And I think that encapsulates exactly what it's like to be Canadian. Also add into that you're in an igloo while you're being cuddled by this mother bear, and you've got yourself a great day.
So if you think Craig is exaggerating, I would like to state that Aaron, just in your presence, felt like he was podcasting you, because he has a memory of us recording a podcast when all we were doing was playing games on a computer.
It's true. I almost actually thought it was a podcast as well. I was having so much fun. It was great. And I'm glad Aaron thought that was a podcast. I just want to say I'm so happy to be on Two Crazy Scoops. This is amazing. I've been a fan for a long time. I've listened to every episode. I don't know if your other guests actually listen to the podcast, but I do. And I'm so happy to be here.
Aaron said, oof.
Well, the fact that you heard every episode, that's some extreme loyalty. We definitely have to get you something. First of all, we'll make sure we get you something for being a guest, first of all, because we do appreciate you for coming on the show. And we appreciate your expertise in the audio. I just want to say that. We do appreciate that. I really appreciate it, too. And I'm looking forward to learning some from you.
Oh, man, I love audio. I mean, I'm not a pro at all, but I do it for fun, and so I'm happy to just...
Would you describe yourself as a perfectionist?
That is a great question. Oh, man. Would I describe myself as a perfectionist? I would describe myself as...
When it comes to audio.
Yeah, but I'm not good enough ever to reach perfection, so I'm never happy with it. I want to use a word that's probably not appropriate for a podcast when it comes to audio, but
if you've listened to every episode, I'm sure you've heard a lot of things that were not appropriate. So.
It's true. My favorite one was the story of the guy who went to the bathroom off a roof.
Exactly. So
I was like, why is this happening?
Yeah. So if he can say that, I'm pretty sure what you were going to say is nothing in comparison.
Oh yeah, it was completely G-rated. But I do strive to if I hear someone doing a project that is comprised of audio, whether it's podcasting, radio, music, whatever it is, if they don't care about what it sounds like, then I'm like, why? What is the point? So to me, it's just, for me, when I do something, I really like it to be I want this to be as good as I can possibly get it. But the problem is I'm not a pro. So most of the time it maybe is better than if I hadn't done anything to it, but it's still not great. So
what got you into all this? The general public is not, downloading Audacity at 12 years old and editing Bob Dylan covers.
Bob Dylan cover. So, Aaron, what Antonio was talking about is like we both, Antonio and I grew up together, basically. We've been friends since we were like, I was 6, I think, 6 or 7. So I've known Antonio as long as my parents, basically.
They didn't pay attention to him until he was 7.
Are you all the same age?
I think I'm a year older.
Yeah, he's like a year older than me.
Okay, so y'all are both kids then. All right.
Yeah, both kids, but miniature children. But yeah, we started like learning guitar around the same time, and I really, basically when I started learning guitar, I like really wanted to record music the second I started. And I'm trying to remember what got me into it. Like, why would I want to start that? I feel like my cousin Connor, maybe, they came and visited, and I had just bought the same mixer that I still have to this day when I was 13. And I've used like to record everything that I record with. Bought that. My cousins came to visit, and we like wrote a song together and recorded it with that mixer. It's pretty bad, but it was also a fun time. We were 13. And I've just loved audio ever since then. For school projects, in like they would ask me to write like a book report on a book that we read, and I was like, instead of writing a book report, would you let me write and record a song instead? And the teacher said yes. So I did like 3 songs based on like books that I pretended to read. All I did was like scan the table of contents and then like make a song based off of that. So it was great. I got to do like what I wanted and not actually learn anything, which I regret now. Stay in schools, kids. Like, but
I don't know. It's hard to learn anything at that age, to be honest. For me, at least. I was just in it for the fun.
Exactly. But I've had a really fun time doing music, and Antonio and I would record together too. Bob Dylan covers. Like he was saying, I wrote this song that turned out to be other songs.
Yeah, they ended up like inadvertently I wrote this one song I was super proud of, and Craig's mom was like, you know, that's a song already, right? I'm like, no, it's not. And then you showed it to me. I was like,
we were jamming, like we had drums, we had guitars, bass, and everything. So Antonio and I are just rocking out, and my parents come in and they're like, oh, is that Cowboy Junkies or something? Like, I can't remember what band they thought it was, and played the song, and it was like note for note.
It was note for note. And I'd never heard it before.
Yeah. I don't know how it happened to us all the time.
And see, that's what I was talking about. I was talking to him about that yesterday, because I'm very much intrigued with how musicians create music nowadays, because the same chord, at least in pop music, the same chords are used over and over again. So how do you create a new chord progression without stealing something that someone else already has done? You know, I don't understand how that's possible.
It's not. So like you can't make a new chord progression. No, to be honest. So chord progressions, basically you have depending on like the keys and the modes and stuff that the song is in, like every song, bunches of songs use the same chord progressions. And that's not, the music industry or the copyright people don't consider that thievery. But it's often the melody where the lawsuits will form, because you can have, I feel like, endless different melodies over the same chord progression. So if your melody is the same, and the melody is like usually what the notes that the singer is hitting, that's usually what your ear is listening to, or if there's a guitar solo that's usually playing a melody, that kind of stuff is what is like, oh, that's mine. Like I came up with that string of notes. Whereas like a chord progression is like it's like the restaurant that you're served a fine meal at. But the meal has to be different. Like it's like, no, that's Coldplay's meal. But if you make it into a Radiohead meal, then that's okay. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
No. I'm like, yes, finally some good Radiohead.
It's like a mother bear. Yeah. Music is amazing. And I always think it's interesting that people haven't like, how are we still coming up with new music? Because there is only so many chords and chord progressions, and yet we're still able to come up with slightly different melodies. I do think a lot of like mainstream music sounds the same. I don't think the problem is because there's a limited number of notes or because we've hit every note possible, but the problem is because they're trying to sell it. And so if you're trying to sell the music, they're trying to sell what works and what's worked in the past and what's popular. So they do the same like formula over and over. Because like classical music, there's like a gajillion notes in one piece. It goes all over the place. And whereas today it's like, oh, we'll just sell 3 notes and people will be happy with that.
I think it's somewhat dumbed down a little bit so that it's easier to kind of absorb. I think with classical, for that very reason that you just mentioned, I think it might take a little bit more to appreciate those musical pieces versus a simple song with just a few chords. And you know what I'm saying? I think
exactly.
And I think, but you have to develop an appreciation for that type of music, and that's what people probably don't do as much these days as they did back in the times where classical was the music to listen to. You know, those great composers of the past and stuff. But
I think it's interesting back then too with classical music, like people they couldn't just listen to it whenever they wanted. The only time they could hear it was if they like went to go see Mozart like perform and conduct the piece in the orchestra or whatever it was. And that was like the only time they would hear it. So you wanted to get the biggest bang for your buck. So it wasn't like, I mean, I guess these days, I mean, people still fill like arenas to hear like pop songs, but
yeah,
I don't know.
K-pop, man.
K-pop, yeah.
K-pop really gets you going when you're working out. It's a lot of energy. It
yes,
does.
That's what I was talking about, Aaron.
Yeah, when I got my workout going on, a little BTS, man, I can run. Man. I can run further, faster.
The only time I've heard BTS was on that new Coldplay album, and I was like, oh.
I did like that song, but I didn't like it for Coldplay. I wish someone else had sung it. That it's not a Coldplay song. That's
the problem I have with Coldplay these days is they're not playing Coldplay songs.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. I prefer their their first couple of albums. You know, that was to me is Coldplay. And the new stuff, like I said, I do like the song, but I just feel like it's just someone else should have been singing it. It seemed like that song was written for like a Justin Bieber or something. You know, some pop singer versus or like I could see like a Maroon 5 singing that song.
Yeah.
Which they're not the same anymore either, but that's a whole other story. Sorry.
I was just going to say, speaking of Justin Bieber, I don't know if your audience maybe has not heard, but in Canada, we have this chain called Tim Hortons. So at Tim Hortons, they have, which it's like a coffee and donut shop. At Tim Hortons, super famous all over Canada because he was like, Tim Horton was like a hockey guy. Everybody loved hockey. So we're in Canada. Welcome. They serve Timbits. So Timbits are like donut holes. I don't know what they call them at Dunkin' Donuts. Do they just call them donut holes? Munchkins.
By the way, in the Northeast, there's a ton of Tim Hortons in the Northeast.
They have been creeping down into the States.
Also, I'll say, I didn't really show you the outline, Craig, but Tim Hortons is on there because I knew it would get brought up. So
it is.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You're going right in line.
I asked for an outline and Antonio was like, nah, I'm not going to send you on. And I was like, okay.
No, it's perfect though. It's perfect. It's
great.
perfect. Yeah.
You're hitting all the spots.
Because you're hitting everything that's on there. So perfect.
Beautiful. We'll be done in a minute. Like we're getting pretty efficient here. I was going to say at Tim Hortons, they came out with a new line of Timbits called Tim Biebs, and it's like sponsored by Justin Bieber. So it's, I don't know why. They're like Justin Bieber's like special flavor. I think because somebody famous was doing something at Starbucks. Was it Taylor Swift? She had like a Starbucks drink, I think. Like
I think everybody's had, like they had a McDonald's thing.
Okay. I'm out of the loop a little bit. But when it's about Tim Hortons, I'm like, I'm listening, like, what are they going to do now? And Tim Biebs, I haven't had one because I'm against anything with Justin Bieber's name on it. But you know,
Find
if
Craig
that's
at a
what
Tim
you
Hortons
like.
at midnight eating Tim Biebs in the corner.
Tim Beams. Oh man. So Tim Hortons, their coffee is actually mostly terrible. In my opinion. They came out with a new line called Dark Roast. They originally only were serving like one kind of coffee, but Dark Roast is a lot better, and they've changed the Dark Roast like brew kind of formula over the years several times. So I only drink Dark Roast if I go there. But yeah, you can get better coffee other places. So
Craig has lived in Arizona, and now he's
Yeah.
currently in Canada. So how would you compare Tim Hortons to a gas station rest stop here in Arizona? What would be the equivalent?
Do you mean
So
do you
like
mean-
there's like Quick Mart, which is probably the worst. You'll get shot there. There's Circle K, which is you'll also get shot, but you'll get what you need.
Right.
And then
Right.
there's QT, which is also on the decline now here, but it used
Oh,
to
really?
be the gold standard.
QT used to be like amazing?
Yeah.
What happened to QT?
I don't know. Like there's like security guards outside each one of them. I think the pandemic has not been good to QT.
Wow. Okay. So Tim Hortons is nothing like any of those because it's it's not a gas station.
Oh, it's
number one.
not?
No,
I was
did you
led
think
to
it was a
believe
gas
Tim
station?
Hortons was a gas station.
No. It's
I'm
like it's Dunkin' Donuts, but it called Tim Hortons.
Wow.
I'm surprised you never saw any in New York. Tim Hortons used to be all over New York.
Not where I was at.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No. Tim Hortons is not you've heard it here, folks.
Tim Hortons is not a gas
a gas station. We just want to make that clear. You cannot buy gasoline at Tim Hortons. However, you can buy a Tim Bieb.
Or did we
You
have
can-
them in Michigan? Now I'm
You
getting
can stop
confused.
there. You can go. You
Look
can
it up,
order
Aaron.
a coffee.
I am.
I
Look.
love the honey crullers at Tim Hortons. Those things are amazing. So if you ever go to Tim Hortons, like get a dark roast and get a honey cruller.
Honey cooler.
Amazing.
Is it like
Oh,
a
they're
bear
so good.
claw?
No, it's like a honey cruller.
So
Okay. I'm not crazy. They are in New York. Okay. I was like, I know I used to see them all the time.
But I do think like I was
Maybe
never
I'll-
crazy about. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was thinking maybe they just weren't a gas station. So I was like, that's not Tim Hortons. I'm like blatantly in front of a Tim Hortons. I'm like, well, there's no gas pump, so that must not be Tim Hortons.
What made you think that it was a gas station?
I think you made a video on YouTube a long time ago, and you and Jesse and Mark were at a Tim Hortons, I think.
Oh yeah,
And I just
remember that.
assumed you guys stopped there for gas. I don't know.
Oh yeah, there was like cars, but it was because it was a parking lot. You know.
And they're also all over. They're all over
Which
Detroit
all
as well.
establishments have.
Oh, I see a car out there. It must be,
Must
a,
be
gas
a gas station.
Those Canadians.
Tim
man.
Hortons is all over Michigan too, all over
Yeah.
Detroit. That's
Okay.
probably why I remember it more from
Okay.
Detroit.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you and Craig did not live too far apart, but at different times.
It's true. Well, oh yeah, I guess at different times. Because we were in Leamington, south of Windsor, which is just, across the border from Detroit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, honestly, I don't know anything about Canada
Okay.
except for what you've told me, which is very little.
Right.
Besides
very little. And
kilometers and
some of it you've tried to put together and have come up
Yes.
with the fact that Tim Hortons is a gas station. So
I was like, oh yes, Craig, I get it. So what would you tell the general public in the US or in Arizona, just in general, is different about Canada as soon as you cross the border? What are you running into that you're like, we're not in Kansas anymore?
yeah. Biggest differences would probably be I think a lot of people say the culture is really different, but I do have a little footnote on that because the culture is vastly different depending on where you are in the States. Like the culture in Arizona is completely different from New York, and New York is completely different from California, and Florida is different from New Hampshire. Like everywhere is
Keep
really
going,
different in
keep
the
going,
States.
all 50
That's
states.
all the states I know. Did
so
I mention
true.
Detroit? So people, when people say like, "Oh man, Canada's so different," everywhere is different. Number one, number two, depending on where you are in Canada, it is also very different. So in Ontario, where I live, in Toronto, which is like the biggest city in Canada, it's probably what maybe people think of when they think of, I don't know what people think of when they think of Canada, because people are like, oh, where's the igloos and stuff? So I don't know, actually.
I actually never thought of igloos with Canada, so.
Oh, thank you.
And you live, amazing. Yeah, I haven't either. I think Alaska.
Alaska, yeah.
But wait, you said you live in Toronto? Okay.
Right. Yeah. So here it's like it's like basically a big city. And I think big cities are kind of pretty similar no matter where you go. If it's a big city, they're very diverse because you've got sections of different cultures all over the place. You've got Chinatown, you've got Koreatown, you've got like Little Italy. And you've got like huge buildings everywhere, people working. I think maybe overall the feeling of people might be a little bit different than in the States. Like, I don't know if people in Arizona, like people here don't tend to stop and like talk or say hi to anyone. Like you walk down the street, you don't even like look at the person as you walk by, but that just might be a big city thing because we also lived in Manitoba, which is another province in Canada, which is more northwest, but it's in the middle of Canada really. And there people are super friendly. The license plate slogan on Manitoba's license plates is "Friendly Manitoba." Like, and they live by, like, everybody is just super nice there. It's so different than here. Like,
so you do have license plates in Canada then?
We do have license plates.
Okay.
Fun thing about Manitoba is they don't use stickers on the license plate, so you don't have to like renew your sticker and like put on the, the thing with the year on it. So, but Ontario, like it's different for each province. So in Ontario, we have to.
There's no like emissions tests there?
Yeah, you could just do whatever you want in Manitoba because everyone's friendly and nice and you can trust everything and everything's good. Everywhere is really different depending on where you go, but that doesn't really answer your question.
Yeah, it does.
But
how much exposure to French did you have growing up? Or is that just a misconception as well?
No, that's they do teach French in the schools. There's a lot of kids that go to school in what's called French immersion, which is where they teach you everything in French. So not only are you learning French, but you're learning like math, science, everything is in French. I never did that. I left Canada when I was in first grade or second grade, maybe just going to second grade. So I only got like a year of French in first grade and then never learned French. And now I'm back in Canada and still can't speak French. But there are people here who do.
Yeah, I almost feel like me and you have the same amount of Spanish as you have French probably.
Oh man, I think you have way more Spanish. Like I don't know any French.
So what are some French things that are around you that you can, like I have Mexican food here because we're so close to Mexico.
Right.
Is there any
the big thing in Canada with like French stuff is poutine or poutine, if you're French, which is, it sounds disgusting, but it's amazing. It's French fries and gravy and cheese curds, which maybe you still think sounds disgusting, but I assure you it's amazing. But you got to get it in Quebec, like Montreal or Quebec, which is another province to the east of Ontario. That's where they came up with the delicious poutine, and it's amazing. Oh, just like if you want to just die happy, like if you want your last meal, like that is a great choice for a last meal. There's this place we went to in Montreal that's like, I can't remember what it's called, but it's a famous place for poutine. And it was like an overflowing plate of fries, gravy, cheese curds. Plus they put on like other stuff. So you can get like bacon on it and green onions and like roast beef or like other meats and stuff. Oh, my mouth is watering.
Speaking of food, can you shed any light on Canadian bacon for us?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's a very American thing.
Canadian bacon is basically ham. For anyone who didn't know, it's just it's not bacon. It's basically ham.
So, do you have Canadian bacon in Canada, or is it all just Canadian bacon?
No, there is a difference because the Canadian bacon is ham, or something. And then we have regular bacon, which is bacon. They also have turkey bacon, which I don't get. It's kind of like Canada geese, you know, no matter where they are, even if they're in Canada, they're still Canada geese.
Yeah, a lot of them used to come over to Detroit.
Yeah.
We had a lot of Canadian geese in Detroit.
Exactly.
So you mentioned to me previously on one of our episodes about the Mennonites that we got something wrong. Did you want to clear that up for us? Because I can't actually even remember what you said.
Oh, and can you clarify who actually had it wrong?
I don't remember either of those things.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
I don't remember who had it wrong, and I don't remember what was wrong or what I was complaining about. I have no idea what it was about, but they're here in Canada and they speak Low German.
I'm going to put you on the spot and make you say something in Low German.
Okay. Guten Tag. Wo geht die dort von deo? Es dort Dina Podcast oder es dort Mina Podcast? I said, hello, how are you doing today? Is that your podcast or is that my podcast?
Oh.
Which is something they would never ever say in Low German.
Breaking new ground in the language.
So how is Low German and German similar? Are there similarities or what's the difference?
Yeah, so they are very similar. They're also really similar to English because English is like a Germanic language. Mm-hmm. So Low German that the Mennonites speak, the Mennonites left like many, 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 many years ago from wherever, Germany or something, and stayed separate. And so now they speak, like they took the language they spoke and they kept it with themselves. So that's why it's like a little bit different from the German that like, I don't want to say evolved, but like developed over hundreds of years. Like languages change, right? We're all on the same page. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's different from that. Somebody who speaks regular German, if they want to learn Low German, they can pick it up and be fluent in like 2 months. Like it can be very quick. A lot of the words are similar. They just kind of sound like Low German is kind of like regular German, but with an American accent. Oh. Is kind of basically.
Okay.
In a simple way.
Thank you for sharing that with us. I don't think we've had anyone on here who speaks Low German. And some people have never maybe even heard of Low German. I hadn't heard of it until like 4 or 5 years ago.
It's pretty cool.
So, shifting gears is, pardon the pun here, but your background is digital bike riders.
Yes.
Is this a video game? Is this a project, a VR project? What is this?
Yes. So I am obsessed also with cycling. So we live in Canada where cycling is terrible 9 months of the year because of the winter. So I set up my bike inside on an indoor trainer and put a speed sensor and a cadence sensor on the bike, and then got this program called Zwift, which is a virtual cycling app. So on this app, with the speed sensor and my bike on the trainer, I can ride virtually, and you can kind of see my avatar there. It's kind of like a video game where the amount I pedal is how far the guy will go in the game. It tracks your kilometers, my watts, and it's a really good workout. Like I get a much better workout on it than if I would trying to ride out in the city here, because in the city there's so many street lights, like I can't get an actual workout in. So here I can like pedal nonstop for an hour and be on Zwift. And that way, like, because I really like using Zwift, because if I'm riding in place, I mean, you can imagine, like, wouldn't that get boring after an hour of just sitting there? And this makes it really interesting. It's kind of like a video game. You get like power-ups and points, and the more you ride, you can unlock different bikes, and it tracks, like, I really like that it tracks your kilometers and like actual effort that you're putting out. I really like using it.
Is this something that you got into it because of the winters, not because of the pandemic?
Yeah, I actually got into it before the pandemic started because of the winter. So I would ride, like when we lived in Leamington, it was a great place to ride outside. Huge open roads, kind of like this picture I have here. Just I could ride for miles and miles. But in the winter, I couldn't. And I wanted to keep exercising. And I didn't want, like, just going for a walk never gave me enough exercise. So I wanted to keep that up through the winter. So that's why I got the indoor trainer. And I'm happy I did and figured it all out when I did, because then the pandemic started, and I'm really happy to have something to do for exercise.
Yeah.
Is it VR like capable or compatible?
No, it's not. And I would like to see if that could happen. That'd be cool. But on the other hand, like, you sweat so much because like you are working out. Like, I have a fan going, like, I need a stronger fan, I think. But if you had a VR headset on, I don't know, like, you would just be coated in sweat. So that's possibly why they don't have it in VR. I'm not sure.
And when you're using it, can you share like your screen, or can you share it like with anyone else? Like when you're working out and you have your avatar going, are you able to share that with anyone, the visual?
Yeah. So if they could download the Zwift app and watch just for free, and you could watch like your friends bike around for free. Or if you also are a cyclist, like for example, my friend Mark and I ride together on Zwift. So he has a bike and an indoor trainer.
Rest in peace,
speed
Mark.
and cadence sensor. What?
I said rest in peace, Mark.
Rest in peace. He was supposed to join us today, but he's sick, so we miss him. But yeah, what was I saying? We ride together. So it's cool because it's an online app. So you see everybody that's on the program. You see like real riders are riding past you, or you can ride with other riders. So I can ride with Mark, and it's like virtual, but it's pretty fun.
So you can see him on there. You'll see his avatar.
Exactly.
As well. That's pretty cool.
So we can like ride. Yeah. If you're into that, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I never had heard of that before. So if anybody is interested in it, can you just repeat what?
Yeah, it's Zwift. So starts with a Z, ends with a Wift. And
and it's a cadence sensor. That's what you said, correct?
Oh, yeah. You need a speed. Well, okay. It depends on what trainer you get, because I got one of the cheaper ones so there's, you need a trainer to provide resistance for your bike tire. On these cheaper trainers, they're not smart. So there's no like electronics or anything on them, which is why if you just use a regular trainer that has a roller and just rolls like against your back tire, you need a speed sensor attached to your back wheel and then a cadence sensor attached to your pedals, so that those things send a Bluetooth signal to either your tablet or your computer or your Apple TV and tell the game how fast and how hard you're working. There's more expensive trainers, which are smart trainers, which start at probably like $1,000, which I would love to get. So if anyone listening to this podcast wants to send me $1,000 to get a trainer, Antonio will put my email in the description. Those trainers are smart, and they automatically send your data to Zwift or any other. There's other cycling apps too. There's other programs you could use, not just Zwift. So it sends it to Zwift. But the cool thing about them is that they provide real-time resistance and elevation change and stuff like that. So in the game, if I start going up a hill, it's going to start automatically getting harder to pedal. Like the machine will automatically change and that kind of stuff. So it's like gives you a more real world feel. And those are, and like professional, like actual pro cyclists, whatever you call them, they'll use those.
Cyclisters.
Cyclisters. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
Well, it's something. I like exercise. I need exercise, so that's why I do it.
Let it be known, Craig loves exercise.
Do you ever go ice skating or skiing? I'm assuming that's pretty common there.
It is pretty common. I have been ice skating several times. The people in Canada who grew up ice skating are like incredible. Everybody is. They're just amazing. Skate backwards, forwards, upside down, left and right, whatever you want. I can skate forwards and that's it. Cause like I didn't grow up in Canada. I grew up in Arizona where people have never seen ice skates before, right?
No.
So never. I'm not great, My family did take us skiing all the time. So when we were growing up, like pretty much every winter we'd go skiing. But since I got married, I haven't been, which was like 7 years ago. So, but skiing was pretty fun. I recommend if you're going to get into skiing or snowboarding and you've never done either, skiing is way easier to start with. If you try to start snowboarding, it's going to take you a long time. You're going to get hurt a lot more. If you just want to have fun, go for the skis.
I wish someone had told me that.
Have you been injured before?
Oh, yeah. Well, not serious injuries, but the first time I went snowboarding, I fell a lot, which doesn't seem like that bad, you know. Well, the problem was I didn't know how to, when I first started, I would go up, we went up to the top of this hill. This is in Michigan. And then I'm snowboarding down and I'm thinking like, oh, this is great. But then people are looking at me. They're like, dude, you're going way too fast. You're going to kill yourself. Because I didn't know you were supposed to carve. I was just going straight. And I'm like, this is, yeah. So I was like, this is great. And then I'm passing people and they're like, dude, you're going to die. And then I got scared. And then I'm like, oh crap, I'm going too fast. Everyone keeps telling me to like slow down. And so, And so then I fell intentionally to stop myself so that I wouldn't like keep speeding up. And that I flipped several times. The snowboard went flying somewhere, and
oh my goodness.
And I was okay. It was snow, so I thought. And then but I was fine for and so I tried to learn how to carve. It was terrible, but anyway,
it's light and fluffy. I'll be fine.
Well, that's what I thought. But then,
oh my goodness.
But then the next morning when I could not move, then I was like, okay, I must have hurt myself because I literally was like, it took me about 4 or 5 days before I fully recovered. And how old am I at this point? I'm like, man, maybe 15 or 16.
Okay.
At this time. And so I could barely walk because I remember going to school that Monday. This is a Saturday. And that Monday I could barely walk. Like I had to get permission to leave class early so I can make it to the next class because I couldn't walk. I couldn't move. I was very sore. But I didn't feel anything that day. That's what made it so funny.
Wow.
Like that day I was fine. It was the subsequent days where I was like, yeah, I really hurt myself. So
you feel it.
Yeah, that's when you actually feel the soreness. Yeah. So anyway.
Wow. Well, I'm happy you survived.
Yeah,
I did survive. Oh. Well, apparently skiing is the same thing. You also have to carve with skiing. So
you do. I think it's easier. I mean, I have never, to be honest, I've never tried snowboarding, but I see everybody try it and they're just killing themselves. So
yeah,
I recommend skiing.
Yeah.
Plus, you can use poles too if you want. You know, you get those little sticks in your hand and then you can like woohoo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
yeah. I would like to get lessons and actually learn how to do it properly. And so I would still, even today, I would still learn. Like if I would go somewhere that where there was snow. I don't know if I would voluntarily go anywhere with snow these days, but who knows?
Do you not miss it, even though no, you're in
absolutely
Arizona?
not. No. If I never see snow again for the rest of my life, I'll be just fine.
Oh man,
yeah,
I love it when it snows out. I love it so. I just want to go walk. It's blizzarding outside, and I'm like, oh, it's time to go for a walk. It's just so. I love it. It's peaceful, and I like when everything's white and quiet, and when I had to work in it, I hated it. When I had to work outside.
Or when you just need to leave the house to go to
you
work.
You have to leave, yeah.
You got to shovel. And
since the pandemic started and all I do is stay home, it's like, oh man, I hope it snows more because I don't have to go out. But yeah, going out in it is the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always liked it when it was snowing because, like you said, it was just so quiet.
Yeah, it looks so peaceful.
Like it.
Yeah.
But speaking of the pandemic, I don't know if this is a pandemic project or something you just picked up recently, but you said you started making puzzles.
Yes. Well, I'm not making puzzles. I'm not
You're
designing
currently
them.
selling, printing, cutting puzzles.
Craig's Puzzles, craigspuzzles.org. You can subscribe now. It's a monthly subscription service where I send out a puzzle of you every month. Yeah. Why not? Yeah, no, I'm not currently designing puzzles. However, yeah, Bree and I, we haven't done a puzzle since we were kids. And a couple weeks ago, Bree was like, well, we're at home. Let's try a puzzle. And it's so amazing. I'm obsessed with puzzling now. I'm obsessed with a lot of things, audio, cycling, and puzzles, as you can see. It's just really gets me focused. I feel like it puts my mind, so yeah, I like puzzling. If anyone wants to trade puzzles with us, because puzzles are so expensive, again, send me an email. Well, it's like $20 a puzzle.
Oh,
so,
yeah. I was always thinking of getting them at the thrift stores, but then they don't have all the pieces.
Yeah.
Then they don't have all the pieces.
Yeah. If anyone wants to start like a puzzle sharing network, let me know. I will not ship anything though. You have to live like a kilometer from me.
No one knows what a kilometer is.
Right, so I was going to say, like, you
I was like, that must be right next to me. I'm in.
Yeah, well, a kilometer, it's shorter than a mile.
Oh, okay.
So
there you go.
Sorry, folks. Oh, boy.
Yeah, sad, disappointed.
I was scrolling on Spotify. I'm like refreshing every day, like, man, it's been a while. When is the next Two Crazy Scoops episode coming out? And then I like looked.
I've got some good
news
for you,
And I looked today, and I'm like, man, there's still no episode. And then I was like, wait, I am the next Two Crazy Scoops episode.
The next episode.
So I'm so happy that this is still happening, because I guess I'll listen to this when it comes out.
Well, okay. I think we already said it, but Craig is editing the audio. So
yes,
if it sounds great, I did it. If it sounds terrible, it's Craig. So.
Okay, that's fair. That's totally reasonable.
Hey, so we talked a little bit about music earlier, and if you don't mind, what are some of your favorite, or who are some of your favorite musicians, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah. Go ahead.
And I have another question for you that's kind of tough, but just think about it in the back of your mind.
Okay.
What are your, if you had to just make a short list of like your top 5 favorite songs, what would they be? But that's the second question. So
okay.
I just want you to have that in the back of your mind. But who are some of your favorite musicians? Who do you like to listen to, and what kind of music do you like?
Okay. So yeah, I kind of like, I like listening to pretty much most music. I don't really listen to country. I don't want to offend anyone. But
I'm highly offended.
I realize because I know you've said before that you like it on the podcast. But I'm really into most other stuff, especially alternative or folk or singer-songwriter or indie rock, that kind of stuff. When I was a teenager, I like exclusively only listened to Pink Floyd. And Antonio and I just would love that. Like, we'd just listen to that all the time. I still really like them.
And that was it. That was literally it.
It was like all we would listen to. And I was like, all other music is dumb.
Like, wait, we found these like 1967 home recordings that someone took of Pink Floyd.
Yeah, we just obsess over those. So Pink Floyd like has been a huge influence on me. I think definitely in music and probably in life. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not, but they've probably shaped my life or my view of the world. But I'm trying to change that, trying to be a better person. Pink Floyd is great. I also like what happened after that. Like I started getting into other music. I started listening to Blur, which is like a British kind of pop rock, kind of like Oasis, but different.
Do you know who Blur is, Aaron?
I think I know one of their songs.
The guy from Blur, Damon Albarn, made like the band Gorillaz. So maybe you've heard of.
Oh yeah.
So it's that guy. Sure. But it was less rap when he was in Blur.
Yeah, I know. Let me see. Go ahead. You can keep talking. I'm looking up whatever.
Sure.
But I know like one of their songs.
Yeah.
Sure.
Song 2 is probably the one you've heard of.
Yeah.
Song 2 is like, yeah. But I mean, that I don't really listen to. I haven't listened to Blur in so long. Now I'm really into, like, I've been obsessed with Radiohead for a long time, for several years. Radiohead is just, it's like the new Pink Floyd for me. Like, just listening to everything they've ever done or anything that they've done. Really like Radiohead. I really like some Canadian artists too, which probably they haven't made it into the States, but The Weaker Thans is an incredible Canadian band from Winnipeg. Also, when he goes solo, John K. Sampson. So when he's solo, he's from The Weaker Thans. When he's with The Weaker Thans, it's kind of like indie rock, kind of, I guess you could call it. But when he's solo, it's kind of like singer-songwriter, acoustic mostly. I really like Elliott Smith as well for like acoustic. Andy Schaaf. I listen to a lot of stuff that I feel like I can play. So, I mean, I can't play like Radiohead stuff mostly, but singer-songwriter stuff I really like listening to because that inspires me to kind of write. And I kind of write a lot of stuff in that genre, though I have done other genres. But who else do I listen to? It's kind of like I get stuck on one. Oh, I really love Arctic Monkeys as well, and Alex Turner, and what's that side project he has?
Last of the Shadow Puppets.
Yeah,
or Last Shadow Puppets.
Exactly. Yeah, that one. And the Beatles.
Really quickly,
I mean,
Greg.
like the Beatles is amazing. Go ahead.
I just have a small confession to make. Hopefully you can fix this, but I forgot completely. So as you were talking about some of these different artists, I was just playing little snippets of them on my phone. But I forgot that I'm recording.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll be able to cut that out. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right. I didn't want you to
Don't
be
worry.
mad.
Don't worry.
I just
That's
realized
easy
it.
stuff, Aaron. Easy.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I was playing some of their stuff, but I just wanted to hear who you were talking to. Who you were talking about.
Yeah.
So I wanted,
if you listen to The Weaker Thans or John K. Sampson, you might at first be turned off by his voice because he kind of sounds a little bit like you might have to kind of get used to it. But I really like his stuff. He's a really good songwriter. Really good. The Beatles is amazing.
So do you have a list of 5 songs that you like the most, or you feel like it's more just week by week, a little bit different?
Yeah, I feel like week by week, it's a little bit different. Right now, I've been really listening. Well, like I kind of always listen to Radiohead. I've really been listening to the Beatles lately. I think partly because of the Get Back documentary got me to like, oh yeah, I want to listen to like all the Beatles stuff again, which was a really cool documentary, by the way. I really liked it. Weaker Thans, Elliott Smith, Andy Schaaf, Dan Mangan too is from Canada. Big Thief is kind of weird, but I've been listening to them. They're pretty good. And early Coldplay is nice.
Acoustic Depression.
Acoustic Depression is basically what my style is. If you're wondering, Aaron. So like a lot of what I like to listen to is not to get me pumped and going and out the door. Like when I listen to music, it's like introspective and, like Antonio said, acoustic depression.
I was mostly talking about early Coldplay.
Yeah, but like I think that sums up kind of everything that I like pretty much. That was a perfect way to describe it.
Interesting. Interesting.
I don't know. Like I like Muse and I'll listen to stuff that can get me pumped up for exercise as well. But
so what do you listen to? What pumps you up for exercise? I'm curious now.
Aaron doesn't want to know about this stuff that's going to put him to sleep.
Right. Most of what I listen to puts me to sleep. No, it's fine. I'm not offended.
No, that's not true. When I ask people about their music, it's just that I'm interested in knowing what they want to listen to. I'm not
right.
like
There's
judging
no judgment,
any. Yeah,
for sure.
No, I love music. Period.
Oh, the National. I forgot the National. I love the National so much. Like if anyone has listening wants to listen to something, like the National has some amazing stuff. Like, wow.
Well, which one of their albums is your favorite?
Oh man, they're all my favorite. They're all my little children. Alligator is incredible. Boxer is even more incredible. High Violet was the first album that I ever heard by them. And High Violet, I saw them on their High Violet tour, and it was the best concert experience of my life. It was incredible. It was at the Rialto Theater in Tucson, Arizona. It was me and Jesse. We were standing right at the front, and they're right there playing. And it was so real. Like everything they were doing was so real, and it was so filled with emotion and High Violet is an amazing album, and it's even better live. Like it was life-changing. Yeah. Got to meet the guitarist from the National. They're twins, so I think I met Bryce Dessner.
Maybe they're triplets and they just have the one meet everyone.
It's possible. But I met Bryce Dessner backstage after the show, and he signed my CD of the National, and they're incredible. It was an amazing experience. I can't really expound on that because I just don't have the words. Did you ask me a question before that, though?
Your 5 favorite songs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and what pumps me up?
Oh, sorry. What pumps you up? Yeah.
Classical music. I'm just kidding.
Oh.
You're like, what?
Hey, to each their own.
No, I mean, what? I guess I really never listened to like anything I think that Aaron has ever talked about on this podcast.
Yeah.
So
I think me and Craig probably have more of a similar.
Probably.
Oh, definitely.
Music
Definitely.
Similar.
Mostly
palette.
because we would just like listen to, well, your parents mostly had all that music.
Yeah, my parents had a lot of that music too, and that's
Yeah.
kind of what we would listen to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Craig
my
would just
top
burn
5
me
songs?
CDs.
No, my musical tastes are definitely different, but I have the thing with me is that my musical tastes have expanded over the years. I grew up listening to a certain type of music, but then over the years I've expanded to like many different genres. So now I like a little bit of everything. I like a lot of the singer-songwriter type music that you were kind of talking about.
Yeah.
And you know, but my musical journey is a little bit different. Definitely.
Well, I think I explained this to you before, Aaron, that I'm listening to different things in music. Like Craig and I used to watch documentaries or live concerts of bands we liked, and then go and try to emulate that in the other room, like trying to make music.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like our whole goal for listening or watching these concerts was like, what idea can we take and implement
trying to
in
do
what
what
we're
they
trying to
did.
do, like
Gotcha.
writing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It may have been why all of our songs sounded so similar to what we were listening to, but at the same time, you know, it was
It
a
helped
lot
us
of
learn.
It was more of a project. It wasn't like a passive experience. I think when I was growing up, at least.
Got you. Yeah, and it makes sense too because with you all actually like playing instruments and stuff. Like I have limited experience with playing instruments, but I've always enjoyed music. And for me, like a good time on the weekend was me and my cousin. We used to go and they have crates and crates and crates of old records, and we would just go and just spin the records all day and all evening. And that was like our entertainment versus actually playing instruments, you know.
Right.
Like in a band or something. And so I appreciate music. I love it. And I like to listen to hear. I always used to open up and to this day, it's kind of stuck with me, but in the records, you know how they had the little inserts and it would have all the musicians in there, who played the instruments, who wrote the songs, who wrote the lyrics. And ever since then, I've always been interested, even with modern music today, I always like to know who wrote it, who produced it, because a lot of times it's not the artist. And I got to the point where I could hear a song, and we're talking about, you know, of course, I'm talking about pop music in particular, but other music too. I could hear the song and instantly knew who produced it.
Right.
Because each producer has their own style. And so I've really been into music from that standpoint, more so not necessarily the creative type, which I think is what you two are, but more so as the listener appreciating the style and what inspired them to write and produce and to use certain chords and certain notes and whatever. So
that makes a lot of sense. I like how you describe that. I think that's a good point. It's more like when Antonio and I maybe are listening to music, it's more like you said, looking for like the creative aspect of it or Like it's more about the you said it better. I don't know. We'll just leave it with that.
Just replay his audio over
Just
yours.
listen to Aaron's thing again. Like it's about the art piece or something. You know, it's like it's about rather than I don't know.
Because
I'll
do you
stop.
have that same experience where you're like, you listen to something and then you're like, I hate myself because I wanted to write this.
Yeah.
I'm like, why can't I write this?
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is what I have been trying to do. Why have I not done this? Yeah, exactly.
I write songs all day.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious to know who are some of your favorite like vocalists? Not necessarily artists or singers, but like who do you think has the greatest voices of like the music that you like to listen to?
See, so that's so interesting that you ask that because
Our singers suck. Roger
Yeah.
Waters is probably a terrible singer.
like the people that like even like the guy I recommended, John K. Sampson, Weaker Thans, these, like Antonio said, it's when you're listening to pop music, it's like, oh, who's the best singer? Like, is it Taylor Swift or Beyonce or like, I don't know, I'm throwing out names here, you know?
Right. But just to clarify, I'm not necessarily saying who is the best singer, but I'm asking like for your personal favorite vocalist.
Right.
So it's a little different.
Okay. They're all bad, but in such a beautiful way.
Such a beautiful way.
Like they're all bad in a beautiful and they're the imperfections and like the whatever their like whoever they are really comes across. So for John K. Sampson, he sounds like he's from a small town in Manitoba. And that's where that's him. And it's just him coming across. And he would not be considered like, oh, like, wow, what an amazing singer. I mean, I don't even consider him like an amazing singer. I consider him an amazing artist. Like he's creating art. Radiohead, Tom York, like he's an amazing, like he can reach amazing notes and sing like crazy, but also some people hate his voice because my favorite, I don't know.
Well,
Like I don't know how to.
Well, the thing is, like me and Antina have talked about this before, and it's like we both appreciate Bob Dylan as an artist and his ability to write.
Episode.
Yeah, but his voice is crap, and I can't listen to it. I'd much rather hear someone else cover one of his songs.
Exactly.
But I appreciate his artistry as an artist.
Okay, but I also like I feel like it's part of the package. So for somebody like Bob Dylan, like the song
comes with the territory.
Like the song he like that is the art, that is the piece. Like his voice as it is, take it or leave it.
Neil Young the same way too.
Neil Young, same thing. Yeah.
So you can't so you in other words, you can't really separate the voice from the music per se. It's more like you have to kind of have like the whole thing. If that makes sense.
Like,
not in a bad, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying.
No, I agree. I think that is maybe how I approach music. It's like one piece of something, and if it's done by someone else, I like it less because it's like, well, that's not, even if they're a better singer, you know, I like it less because it's like, well, I liked it because it was them. I don't know if that makes sense.
Interesting.
Like for instance, the way that I could describe it is like David Bowie, for instance, is a singer. He has a good voice. But there's a concert where they replace one of the singers to sing Comfortably Numb by Pink Floyd with David Bowie.
It's so bad.
And it's like disgusting.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
I remember seeing it. I think we got the DVD or something, like a Netflix DVD. And we're sitting there watching this. I'm like, I'm so disappointed right now.
It was utter disappointment.
You just can't mix the two because like there's some artists who can go and sing with a bunch of different people, but there's some artists where they can't jam with anybody.
Yeah.
You can't add them with someone else. They'd have to start a whole new project, which is what the interesting thing with Arctic Monkeys is. They themselves are a band. Alex Turner also has a side project, which is similar, but also different. There's a lot more strings involved. And it works, but it's hard to do.
Alex Turner is, I'll pick him as my favorite vocalist of people that I listen to. I love the way he sings in such an arrogant, condescending, like D-bag kind of a way. that just draws me to him in some strange form. Like the confidence oozing out of this guy is incredible. Like if you have not listened to Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino, you should, because it's incredible.
And trying to describe it to people, I'm like, so this is like a concept album.
So what's the name of the actual singer? So just so we know for reference. So how can we listen to it?
So the singer I am talking about, his name is Alex Turner. His band is Arctic Monkeys, and
which I know Arctic Monkeys, but is his best vocal performance? Is it with Arctic Monkeys or is it with the other?
I would say it's on Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. I don't know. Like it's the same. It's kind of
his
a similar
singing
thing.
changes.
The singing changes depending on the. It's like I cannot answer this question, Aaron, because I'm in a different book. I think is the problem.
Okay. No, but that's good. I appreciate the expression, because like for me, for example, there's some artists I appreciate their voices, but they're not necessarily my favorite singers. Like I'll give you a good example.
Okay.
Like and some people think I'm crazy for this, but I love Janis Joplin's voice. Okay. It's raspy. It's very raspy.
Yeah.
It's very unique. And now she's not my favorite artist by any means, but just the voice itself, I love it. I think it's
okay.
I wish I could have heard her sing live like that. I love that voice, and granted, she had a lot of other issues, but that's
besides the point.
But that's besides the point. The voice itself was unique, and I appreciate unique vocals that no one else has, because you have a lot of singers who sound very similar. But when you have a voice that stands out, so if I was doing like a list of my top favorite female vocalists, I would put her in there. She's not a Whitney or a Mariah or anything like that, but she had a unique style that just fit.
Yeah,
so.
No, that makes sense. Maybe I'll choose Paul McCartney or someone from the Beatles. I don't know. Like, I don't.
Just don't say Ringo.
I love Ringo, man. He's the best.
Ringo has a good voice.
Ringo Starr. You know what? I always thought everybody was always dumping on him, but I saw the Get Back documentary, and I'm like, he's so nice. He was like.
That don't mean you can sing.
I just think, you know what? We need to give some respect to Ringo here. Like, what a good guy.
Wait, who did the lead singing on Yellow Submarine?
I don't know. All of them probably.
It wasn't John or Paul.
I think it was Ringo then. I don't know.
In the town. Yeah, it's probably Ringo. Where I was born. Yeah, that's Ringo, I think. Lived a man. Yeah, totally Ringo.
And all of that.
And he also did Octopus's Garden. I mean, like, come on. What a hit. What a hit.
He sings a lot. He sings the last song on the White Album. It's not too bad.
He also sings With a Little Help from My Friends, which is an amazing song. You know that song?
Oh wait, does he do the whole song?
With a Little Help from My Friends?
No.
Yeah, I think so. No, he doesn't. I could be wrong.
Okay,
I don't remember. That. He definitely does the verses.
Yeah, because he was like, "What would you think if I sang out of tune? Would you walk out of me?"
Yeah,
because like he's a terrible singer and everyone hated him.
Yeah, and he was like, "Well, I'm going to lean into it."
And the only reason I know this is because this English guy that me and Craig both know would preach to us about it like early mornings.
Oh yeah,
really? Okay.
Oh yeah.
He's all like, right. One time the Beatles said they liked some kind of dessert, and then they started throwing at them, so then they stopped saying they liked anything. He's always going on about Jelly Bellies or whatever.
Oh yeah, what a good time.
So before we wrap all this up, the last final thing I want to talk to you about, Craig. What is your favorite song that you've written? My favorite song that I've written? That's a great question. And are you willing to share it on this podcast with us? I am willing. I think so. The favorite song that I have written is actually I've been working for a while on like an acoustic album that I'm trying to do. And I feel like I've really found what I've been looking for. So I don't have these ready to release yet, but I will release them pretty soon. And this is my favorite batch of anything I've ever done. But if I have to pick something that's already released, I have a song called No Reply, which I really think is my favorite song that I have released so far. Okay, I'm sorry. I have to jump in here.
when you say released, where is your music available to be listened to?
Right now, it's just on Bandcamp. So it's craigmcbrine.bandcamp.com. So it's my name, .bandcamp.com.
Okay. Can you spell your last
Yeah.
name? More so for listeners and just making sure everyone understands.
M as in marshmallow, C as in crazy, B as in boxed beans, R as in Randy, I as in interloper, N as in nobody nowhere, and E as in everyone everywhere.
Got you. So Craig McBrine at Ben. Oh,
Dot- .bandcamp.com.
okay.
Yeah, that's not an email address.
CraigMcBrine.com. .bandcamp. Okay, so everything is on Bandcamp right
so
now.
everything I've done is pretty much there.
Okay.
Yeah. That's released anyways. So No Reply is on my latest release on Ton State, which is it was a project I started like a couple of years ago. I thought I would like record songs and release them as I finished them and make an album with them. But I was unable to focus long enough to do that. So there's still only 2 songs released and it's been like 2 years. But I think I might not continue this project. I'm not sure. I have this other album that is, I basically just have to record it. And what I like about these new songs I've come up with is I'm going to record and I'm going to play the guitar and sing them at the same time, which I've never done recording music before. I've always recorded each piece separately because I'll play everything. Like when I had drums, I would play drums and bass and guitar and whatever. So I had to do it all separate and I would try to line it up and get it in time. And I was never happy with either the guitar performance or my voice performance in most of those. And I think what I've discovered is I'm a lot more, it's kind of like what we were talking about. If I separate it, it like becomes unnatural. And if I do it at the same time, it's like the one thing that's coming out. And to me, it sounds a lot better. I finally figured out how to record 2 tracks separately, which is why I'm finally now going to try this album that way. I've got 2 microphones. I can record them to separate tracks, vocals on one, guitar on the other. And then I might add some other things, but I want to be more simple with it. Most of my earlier stuff, I have kind of just put as much in as possible, but I want to focus on like actually decent melodies and stuff like that. So we'll see. I'm not great, but we'll see how it goes. I'm excited about it anyways.
Nice.
Yeah. I like that song, No Reply.
Yeah, I really like
Yeah, I was
that
just
one.
listening to it right now. And
Can we play it on the podcast or is that like copyright infringement?
No, yeah, you could play it. It's acoustic depression, like Antonio brought up earlier. Like that's also the style of music I write. If you do listen to my other stuff, I did write like a post-rock instrumental album, which is what Into a Clear Lake is. So if you're looking for like instrumental post-rock, that's what that is. And then One or I is like an EP of acoustic depression, and Ton State is also acoustic depression. So enjoy. And my next album, guess what it's going to be? It's acoustic depression. This time.
have you ever,
Oh, go ahead.
vocally, have you ever taken like vocal lessons before?
No, but thanks, Aaron. I will.
No. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's not what I meant. I did not mean it like that. No. I'm really trying to get like, did you just want to just sing, or did you ever want to take lessons for anything? But I did not mean that in a bad way. And I'm sorry how that came across. That came across bad. You sound good in the song.
Oh, thanks.
You sound good. Because what I was going to ask you next was, would you have any suggestions for someone like me who can't sing worth anything, but perhaps wants to,
I also can't really sing. I've never taken lessons. I think it would be nice to. I've watched YouTube videos about tips on how to sing. I don't know if those have helped or not. I'd try to apply those. I think what's helped most for me recently, and I've discovered it trying to record this new album, is not singing too loud. Like the microphone is here. So it picks up a lot of your voice that I'm always trying to project way too much, and it makes my voice sound bad. And I'll play my songs just when I'm playing on the guitar, and my wife Bree is like, just record it like you just sang it there like that. And then I'll go in to try to record, and I'll be like way too loud again, and I'll be too aggressive and so just learning how to like be comfortable with my own voice and like not be afraid of it, and also not be afraid to be kind of subtle and not project so loud. That's just for me. I think some people sound better when they actually are screaming or really loud. So I don't know.
No, that's cool. No, and thank you for that. No, but you sound good. I was just listening to I've never heard you sing before.
Okay.
And so I was just listening to your song.
Yeah.
And like, you have a good voice.
And with these other, like all the songs that are up right now, these are all recorded with each track one at a time. Right. So I did the guitar, and then I would record vocals over it. And so I'm hoping that with this next release, it'll be kind of what I've been trying to get to for a long time. Like everything's kind of an experiment. Like I just do it for fun. I'm not a pro. I just do it because I like music and I like writing. And each time I make a song, I feel like I've learned something from that song, and I try to apply it to the next one I write or to the next piece that I record. And so it's kind of like a big, slow progression, but it's a fun ride. I like doing
Interesting.
it. Yeah.
So I'm sorry. There's so many questions. I don't want to drag this on too long. I just have so many questions that are coming in. So being like from a musician standpoint, would you ever consider like putting any of your music on streaming platforms, or is that something you want to avoid? And then my other question is, would you ever shoot a music video for any of your songs?
Great questions. I will start with the music video question, because that happened once. So I made a debut album, like my first album it came out in 2013, which there's a link to it on my Bandcamp here. It's like Sleep Tonight. And it's like really early Craig. It's like 16, 17, 18-year-old Craig is basically like when I recorded it. So like a lot of it is out of time. A lot of it's not great, but and that's more like angst depression instead of acoustic depression. So that album is more like teenage angst.
Wait, which album is that again?
It's called Letters, and it's on a different Bandcamp because I try to disassociate myself from that album. But there is a link to it on the Craig Bandcamp if you search around.
Okay.
I can't remember what the question was now. What was it? Oh yeah, the music video. So on that album, one of the songs on that album is Forget, and me and my friends recorded a music video for that song and put it on YouTube. I used to make YouTube videos all the time too, growing up, but none of those are available. Please do not write me and ask. I will not be showing them. So we made that Forget music video. A large portion of it was done in front of a moving train. Not in front of, beside a moving train. And the police came and got upset and stuff with us. So we had to leave. But that was my experience making a music video, and that was fun. I do not recommend trying to film your friend sitting next to a moving train. Very dangerous, apparently.
Wait, so you're saying that video is gone?
It's gone, Aaron.
I like the song. I've only listened to the first 30 seconds of it, but I like it.
Amazing. Thank you for liking
But why?
it.
So I want to see the video. So can you send me the video? Can I see the video?
Yeah, possibly after this podcast, I will let you see the video.
Okay, all right.
But no one else can see the video.
Okay.
Do not ask me. But I'll show you, Aaron, because you're a good guy.
Okay, I appreciate it.
So I made a music video for that. What was your other question about streaming?
Would you ever consider like putting any of your music up on any of the streaming services, and why? Either way, if you decide yay or nay, why would you or why would you not?
Yeah, I would. I actually had Forget, that one song, out on Spotify for the longest time, but I took it down. I would like to put some of this stuff on streaming, but I'm never happy enough with it where I feel like, oh, it doesn't deserve to be out there as much. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just like my little project for fun. This next album, if I get this one right, if I'm happy with it, it will hopefully be everywhere you can stream music for free. Mm-hmm. No, Antonio, how did you find the video? Antonio has found the Forget Music video.
Yes.
We are not playing it on this podcast.
No, it's just the audio, I think. But
Oh, it's just the audio?
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, well, I'll send you the video, Aaron.
It's under various artists on.
I'll send
YouTube.
you the video. But yeah, if I can get it, I just want it to be good. I'm never happy with any of what I actually end up doing. So if I get it good and I'm like, yes, I am 100% proud of this, then I will put it on streaming so that more people could hear it. And I don't really, like, I know artists don't make any money off of Spotify and stuff.
No,
but
not really.
I'm not planning to ever make money with any of this music, so I don't really care.
Mhm.
If people want to listen to it, that's all I care about, really.
Yeah, I think especially not modern day, I think it's a good platform to share music. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're trying to be like the next big pop star by any means, but just the fact that you can easily share it and it's available. Yeah, I think that's awesome personally. That's just my opinion as a listener.
Yeah. So if my stuff gets good, it'll be there.
Any chance we'll see a Craig Antino collaboration on this upcoming album?
Oh, that would be cool. We're actually probably gonna try to make a separate album, because why go for one when you can go for more? We've been talking about making an album together. So
doing it long distance has been a real.
It's really hard though, to do it long distance.
Yeah.
Like if we could get 2 weeks together, like the Beatles, and just like sit in a room for 12 hours every day recording together, like we'd have so much good stuff coming out. But once that happens, I think,
But we had like maybe 2 songs we recorded together under the band Walking Stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that was the.
Well, in the meantime, while we wait for this album, though, can we get like at least a feature or something, on this upcoming project? Maybe just one song at least.
Well, I mean, I don't have anything even like ready to play. I mean, I could edit it in to the podcast when I'm editing it.
Yes,
I don't have anything ready now, but if I find
I don't mean now.
It'll be right here.
Yeah.
At this moment.
Yeah. Well, we will definitely. Hey, maybe we can include some of your music in our podcast in the future. That would be awesome. I think if you would let.
Well, keep an eye out for it, and don't be disappointed when you hear how terrible it is.
Well, from what
the audio quality is really good, Craig, and the songwriting's good as well.
Yeah, thank you.
But the audio quality for me is like a real standing point, because it's really difficult to get that kind of audio quality.
Yeah. I can also write songs too, just saying. So if you want somebody,
no,
to help out.
Aaron's songs are
okay,
offensive.
cool.
If you ever want some help with some lyrics, I got you.
Okay. I'll be texting you.
And Tino doesn't have faith in my lyric ability, but trust me.
Okay. Write me a poem about bike riding.
Oh no. Not only that, but Craig lives in the GTA, which stands for the Greater Toronto Area, and not Grand Theft Auto.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
If you can work that into a bicycle story, Aaron, I'm sure he would love that.
It's true. I'm in the GTA. I'm Canadian, eh?
Well, it's been fun, Craig. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Also, listen to Best 3 out of 3, the podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry. Craig, and it is a podcast. So today was supposed to be a crossover episode.
Today was going to be crossover. We're still going to do the crossover.
We're still going to do it.
I hope, right?
I doubt Mark will listen to this. And if he does, he probably won't even get this far. But
No,
if he does,
won't.
Mark, we're thinking about you. We hope
care
you
about
get
you.
better.
Get better soon.
Take care of yourself. Drink a lot of water and vitamin D.
Yeah. And stay tuned for the crossover episode.
But for now, while you're waiting for that, listen to the Best 3 out of 3 podcast on pretty much anywhere.
And if you're wondering, like, Antonio is also on the podcast. It's me and Antonio and this guy named Mark. So it's basically a worse version of Two Crazy Scoops. So if you're looking for like worse than this, that's where to go.
Oh, I don't. Hey, what is your podcast about? Really quickly, the Best 3 out of 3. What is it about?
Everything Craig just talked about.
Okay, got you.
Pretty much. No, it's about. I want it to be friend time. Like that's my mission statement for this friend time. You know, it's just, you ever hang out with people and you just want to like listen to them laugh about stuff that doesn't matter? Like that's just, you know, what I'm going for. Just like we talked about Uber Eats on the last episode or something. Actually, we talked about financial something, but that hasn't
The
come out
last
yet.
one that recorded.
Oh my, that was a
You're talking
terrible
about if you want to
episode.
learn about the stock market.
But we berate. Well, actually, Mark berates bicycles. Like we have listeners send in pictures of their own bicycles, and Mark makes fun of their bikes because they're not up to his high standards of bicycling. And we also talk about the news from small town Canada. So if you're interested in that, it's at the end of every episode.
Which in the crossover, we will get Aaron's e-bike being rated. We will get some small town Canada news. And we will hear about Mark. He was in Brazil for a little bit.
I'm sure he'll have a lot to say.
Last time
on
I asked
that.
him about it, he said, yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal. And then we stopped the conversation.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
So,
I want to hear
we'll
this.
see.
Yeah.
That sounds really interesting.
Oh yeah, Mark is a great guy. I can't wait to have him.
Yeah. And he has an amazing voice for radio.
He does.
Okay. Well, this has been Two Crazy Scoots podcast with your hosts, AO and Antino. And this has been the host of the Best 3 out of 3, Craig, music, songwriter, puzzle maker, Tim Hortons enthusiast, bear lover, Craig Mcbrine.
I love bears.
Stay tuned next week as we, I don't know, Aaron.
Crossover.
Well, I don't think Mark's going to be, if he feels better, the next episode will be a
He said he was
crossover.
basically feeling better today, almost. So I
Yeah,
think
but he
he'll
was
be
like,
better
I
in
just
a
don't want to
week.
say anything. I'm like, how can you be on a podcast and not say anything?
I'll be there, but I don't want to talk.
I want to be a passive bystander, also a guest.
Yeah. But,
Anyways,
I mean, that's his role on our podcast as well. So
do you mind? I mean, you cut this out if you don't want us to, but can I put no reply at the end of this episode?
sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, there you go. Just pretend the music is going, outro. Dun, dun, dun,
Oh, I have to pretend that it's going?
Dun, dun, dun,
It was going at the
dun,
beginning. Why do I have to pretend now?
because I don't have the button on here. Actually, I do.
Ayo and Tino and A sitting back in the something day.
Aaron hates it.
Oh, and I have a complaint. We're probably ending already, but I have
Can
a
you hear
complaint
the
about your.
music?
I can hear it now. Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, talk
I have a
over it.
complaint about Aaron, your advertisement for this podcast. I was supposed to record this as a voice message and send it in. Antonio has asked me 20 times, but I haven't done it. Maybe I'll send in another voice message. But in your advertisement, it has bugged me since the beginning of the podcast. You say, yeah, we use Anchor to distribute all our apps. And Antonio's like, yeah. And you do not use Anchor to distribute
Oh,
apps.
it's the podcast.
You use it to distribute. Anchor is an app that you use to distribute your podcast, and it has. You have said that it has been like that for 2 years of Two Crazy
I have
Scoops.
never. Well, first of all, I don't even listen to my own podcast. For one, number two,
Neither does Mark.
I've recorded it once, and he said it was good, and I just left it at that. I never pay attention to it. Usually, I fast forward through it when I am listening to it. But that's good to know. It'd be better.
Just wanna
we
keep
should
you posted.
re-record that for sure. I didn't even want to record that because I don't feel like my voice is good for that.
We didn't record it for like 400 listens. We missed out on like $4.
Right.
Whoa.
Right. But I'm just saying your voice would be better to record that than mine. I think.
Nah, Aaron's voice is good. I like it.
I like Aaron's voice, but I mean, just change up the words there. One thing that bothers me about Antonio's ending sometimes, because this is the part of the podcast where I pick apart the stuff I don't like about Two Crazy Scoops, right? Is that where we're at now? So another suggestion I have is you've said multiple times, thanks to ANA for pressing our buttons, which to me, like if you say someone is pressing or pushing your buttons, it's that they're like irritating you.
That's the joke.
And I don't like it.
That's
it's a joke.
the
I never knew
joke.
it didn't sound like a joke. to
She's
me. Did you know
literally
it was a
pressing
joke,
the
Aaron?
buttons on the machine.
I know, but like, why would you say your wife is pressing your buttons?
Because
Like, don't say that.
Funny. It's funny.
I don't know. I didn't think it was funny. Did you ever notice that, Aaron?
I did, but I I didn't think.
I can cut this out.
No, I did, but I didn't think nothing of it. I just thought it was
Exactly, because it's a joke.
Okay, I misunderstood. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. That's the only two things I thought. Everything else I don't even think. But
I don't even think A&A cared. I don't.
No.
Okay,
I don't
well,
think she
great.
cared either.
She's got a great sense of humor.
Well, I don't even know if she. I don't know if she even knew that. Did she knew that?
Going for a walk is long distance talk for pacing round the room. Telephone glued to you, and I should have asked you where you've been. And I should have asked you how you've been. No reply. Sitting in the room. Lights off just for you. No words can reach your ears. Come flooding all your fears. And I should have asked you where you've been. And I should have asked you how you've been. And I should have helped you more than this. No reply. At least you know they care. Friends are everywhere, but that just doesn't help. How alone you felt, and everyone asks you where you've been. And everyone asks you how you've been. And everyone asks you how you've been.